there, welcome back to Kenobi, guys. Welcome back to Project Potter. My name is Kyler, your host. Guys, this is our Obi-Wan Kenobi in review. This is the, I'm going to say it, penultimate episode of the series, guys. This is what a lot of people have been waiting for. This is what I've been waiting for. The episodes have been getting better and better, but I was impressed with this episode. I'm going to get into that, guys. But if you haven't seen the show before, thanks for checking out the channel. What I do is go through my favorite scenes. I go through a favorite character, a least favorite character, and a score out of 10. So, guys, this is where the fun begins. And finally, we get Hayden Christensen back. You know, we got him in that one still shot on the cliff a couple of episodes ago, but that he didn't have any dialogue. That was the only time we've seen him. We've seen a bunch of Vader, but it's been James Earl Jones to this point, which has been amazing. But we knew Hayden was coming back, right? They did the press tours. They were like, hey, everyone likes the prequels now. Prequels, not that bad. And now it's like we're here. And we got Vader who's coming for Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan knows it. And there's a little bit of Last Jedi in here, which I love because I love Last Jedi. They get down in the base, and then they're like, oh, Obi-Wan's like, we can't fight these people because like we're gonna die if we try and fight them. So he's like, we need to buy enough time so that we can get out. It was very much like Luke, Last Jedi, force projecting. You had Third Sister, who was basically being a much less interesting version of Kylo Ren, where she's angry and she's like doing the more, she's like light him up. And I was like, all right, we're a little too on the nose here. Again, it's really cool, but the fact that Star Wars always has to like pull from something else Star Wars is a little annoying. But all in all, guys, I thought this was just an absolutely fantastic episode. I mean, we get these amazing transition cutbacks between this scene behind me, which we get to see Hayden. Guys, we got to see Hayden right away. The opening shot, you see a ponytail and you're like, oh my God. And he turns around and I was just like, yes, dude. Like, I was so excited to see Hayden back. These cuts, as the episode goes on, between Obi-Wan and Anakin and their duels going, and how Obi-Wan's warning him, like, Anakin, you're too hateful. Like, you're letting your mind get clouded. Like, it's not all about winning. There's a scene where he's like going down with the lightsaber, similar to how Luke does in Return of the Jedi at the end before he cuts off Vader's hand. So I just love how it kept cutting back and forth between like the lessons that these two are going through, where like Obi-Wan will say something and he's teaching him. He's like, he's his Padawan. And he's teaching him like, hey, you're being clouded by your desire to win. It's blindsiding you. And then like we get that scene. Guys, can we talk about how badass it was that Vader goes in there, and then there's the ship that's going to take off. He opens the door, and then like as it's going off, you see it going, and then he just uses his hand and force stops it, and then just pulls it down, rips the door off, dude. I'm like, this is peak Vader. You've never seen Vader more terrifying. And like, it's so awesome. And it's like, we knew in A New Hope that Vader was badass and he had this presence, but like that was the first time we'd ever seen Vader, and we heard all these things, and we got the Rogue One hallway scene, which is amazing, but like we haven't really seen Vader until this series be like terrifying and badass and merciless. And like we knew that Anakin killed the younglings, as we find out that the Third Sister was one of the younglings, which was like the most obvious thing. I was like, well, yeah, dude, I figured that out from literally the opening shot of the series. So that was a little disappointing just because it was so obvious. It was still a cool moment where she's talking to Obi-Wan through the door, but like it's weird because she is like, well, why wouldn't he just see it coming? And Obi-Wan is like, oh, sorry, that's later when he gets captured, quote unquote captured. But he's like, because all he's going to be able to see is me. I was like, oh, that's good. And this kind of, I think, convinces the Third Sister to take on Vader at the end. But then he did see it coming. And so I think it shows that he's learned. And I think this episode kind of shows that Anakin is starting to finally learn the past, where Third Sister is now acting a lot like Anakin did with Obi-Wan. And so he's like, hey, you're a great warrior. But he's like, your desire to win is clouding your judgment. And that's when he like force gets Anakin's lightsaber. And then like Anakin, I think, uses that against Third Sister, because at the end, Third Sister just coming at him, and he just is like, bro, he's not even looking at her, and he's like, I'm going to stop you with the Force. He's like, I know what's going on. And then, she does the dual lightsaber and it's spinning, and he just uses the Force to slow it down. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, Vader was so badass and so awesome in this episode. It's just amazing. And I love the little clever tricks where like that scene I talked about, guys, where the ship is going away and he just grounds it using the Force when it's going full thrusters, and then rips the door off, and then it's empty. And then there's another shuttle right behind it that like they used to escape, and I guess Vader had like used all of his force up. I'm sure it's exhausting, so he didn't have enough energy. He put so much energy into stopping that first ship that he, again, his judgment was clouded because he wanted to win so badly. He didn't check the other ship first. He didn't do anything, but that was an awesome scene. I thought obviously everything with Obi-Wan's flashback was just amazing. And at the end, guys, we get their sister that's like that finds Obi-Wan's transmission. I guess he dropped that. I mean, they were running. It was kind of weird. We get the Inquisitor coming back, which I thought was really dumb because he just shows up and he's just like, "Oh, you thought I was dead? I've actually been completely in the BAFTA tank this whole time." And it's like, so he's just off screen and then he just comes back. Like, we didn't think he was dead, but it's like, why did you put in this fake like death sequence just so that like third sister can get promoted, but then like Grand Inquisitor just shows up and he's just fine, and then at the end he's like, "Goodbye, Grand Inquisitor," and I'm like, aren't you now the Grand Inquisitor again, or is she still the Grand Inquisitor? It doesn't make sense. But I love how they're just like, "We're gonna leave you where we found you in the gutter," and I was like, oh damn. But then she finds the hologram at the end, so it's like she's clearly gonna give that to Vader. And then is he going to go after Luke? Would they zoom in on Luke to end the episode? And I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. Are we going to get a time jump maybe to see like where Luke meets old Ben or something? That would be cool. So I don't know what's going to happen there. But they did say also on the ship that their hyperdrive was broken and they were behind them. So I don't know what's going to happen. And we still haven't gotten our Vader Kenobi fight, our real fight. I thought that was going to happen this episode, but he's chasing him. But, you know, Ben's running away, or Obi-Wan's running away, and but yeah, we get some awesome fights. Tala's sacrifice, I think that's her name, guys. That was awesome. She was holding a thermal detonator. I thought the music cue in that scene was excellent too, where Obi-Wan's like, you know, he's trying to save her, but we all knew what was going on. The loader bot goes to like protect her at the end, but she knows she's going to bleed out and she's overwhelmed, and she's holding a thermal detonator and blows it up, and she says, "May the force be with you." I thought that moment really hit. So I just thought there was a lot in this episode. I thought it was like just an excellent movie quality episode from start to finish, and I'm just super happy with where it is. And I don't know where we're going to go for the last episode, but I'm excited to see how they kind of tie it into obviously New Hope, and kind of like Rogue One made New Hope better. I hope this will kind of give some more perspective or a new perspective into A New Hope. But obviously the big thing is going to be the Obi-Wan and Vader fight, so that should be awesome, and I'm sure there's going to be amazing dialogue, and maybe we'll get more flashbacks, although this feels like it might be the only one. I don't know, but just really happy with this episode. Okay, guys, the chosen one for this one, it's got to be Hayden Christensen coming back, man. So great to see him, and he like his voice is all different now. So either they digitized it or he like just lowered his voice again so that he sounded like young Hayden, which was great. But just to see him back there, man, with the ponytail and, you know, his tendencies and how Obi-Wan can see that he's like, man, you have too much of a desire to win. He's trying to teach him like, don't go to the dark side, basically. I wish that he kind of leaned into like what Yoda tells Luke, where he says hate leads to the dark side. I wish that he kind of did that, but I really like their scenes, and the backdrop was beautiful. It was really great setting, and I thought it was really well choreographed. And anyone who's seen Revenge of the Sith, they remember that like that fight with Obi-Wan and Anakin was really well choreographed. So this was almost like a little teaser. I hope we get a full-blown Obi-Wan Vader fight next week. I'm sure we will, but it is cool to kind of see them both back here. And just, I love seeing Hayden back, man. It's just, he's so charismatic. I feel like he's one of the most beloved characters. You know, say what you want about the prequels, and even if you hate Sand, you gotta love Hayden's portrayal of Anakin. I think it was great, and obviously we got to see a little bit more of him just being completely consumed by the dark side when he goes in and kills all the younglings. And then I don't know how the third sister survived. I don't know why he didn't just kill her too, but it's weird because he kind of like finished her off this time. But she looks like she's just going to survive because now she's got that important piece of information. But anyway, guys, that's a whole different topic. But yeah, I thought Hayden being back was so amazing to see. I'm glad that like right away they gave that to us. It was just so rewarding seeing those flashbacks. And I love how they didn't have one flashback and then go on with the present day episode. They were just cutting back and forth, and the cuts were so perfect, where it like cut back to like a lesson that Anakin needed to learn, and then it cuts to Vader's face, and you can tell he's like thinking about it. And it's just really cool, and it brings up obviously some old memories. So I thought that was awesome. But I thought seeing Hayden back was just an absolute treat, and I'm so glad that they did it. Okay, guys, and who failed me, which is my worst character? It's the quote unquote Grand Inquisitor, the original one. I just was like, this is such a dumb reveal. I don't like fake death scenes. It's really dumb. It's like if Darth Maul just came back and, when we watched him fall, he just comes up. There's no explanation. There's no like quick scene about how he like survived the fall, or even if there was just a quick scene where he's like crawling to like the BAFTA tank or whatever, that would have been cool. Last we saw him, he got stabbed. His third sister was named the new Grand Inquisitor, and so we thought the other guy was dead, but people who like read the comics or whatever know, I think he's in Rebels, and so they're like, oh, he's not dead, obviously, because that wouldn't make sense. So that was kind of annoying, because then he just came back and he's like, I've actually been fine this whole time. And it's like, well, then what is even the point, dude? And he just comes back and he just like takes her pin and he's like, goodbye, Grand Inquisitor. And then I'm like, that's actually you now. So it doesn't make sense. But I think that character is cool, but it's just the way they've handled it in the show. They built him up in the trailers and everything to be this huge force. And he was really good in the first episode. And then he just gets taken down by third sister. And it's like, maybe it's trying to show you that third sister is obsessed with winning and that's clouding her judgment. But the Grand Inquisitor, you think, would be like right below Vader. So like, he wouldn't have Vader's powers necessarily, but like you think he would be close enough where he wouldn't be able to just be taken out by the third sister and then just off-screen healing. It was just really weird, but I just thought his character, not even really the acting, just mostly his character, is my least favorite part of the series so far. That brings us to the score. This is a 9.8. This is such a great episode, guys. I mean, music-wise, fan service-wise, action-wise, it was so good. It wasn't good. It was great. I mean, I had full goosebumps, dude, for most of it. The fight with Vader, dude, where he's fighting third sister and she's trying so hard and he just absolutely is taking her to town, dude. Vader has never been more badass or more terrifying in all of Star Wars. I mean, this is peak Vader, dude. This is like, how did Vader get his name of being so scary and so, it's like Voldemort. Like people are afraid when they hear Vader's name. This is how he got it, because of stuff like this where she's going at him with all her might and he's just using one hand and just force stopping. He just like takes her lightsaber in half, dude, and then like he's just toying with her, and it's like, it's ridiculous how powerful he is and how awesome he is. And it's like Vader really is like Michael Myers-esque terrifying, like where he's coming for you and we know Obi-Wan can't take him down. And there's a cool scene where Obi-Wan's like, we can take him down together, but she's like, third sister's like, nah, dude, I'm gonna do it myself. And I don't know, maybe it's because Obi-Wan said that he's only going to see me, that she thought that was her opportunity. But Vader's like, nah, dude, I learned from the flashback scene that actually I'm going to anticipate you and just child's play for him. So I thought it was just awesome. I thought just the way the episode was paced, amazing. I thought visually it looked great. I just loved how they kept going back to the flashbacks and how it was like poignant. Like it wasn't just, oh, remember Hayden and Obi-Wan are fighting. It's like, oh, they were going through and they were having a battle. And, it's like Obi-Wan says, Anakin, you're a great warrior, but your mind is clouded. Desire to win so badly is what's blindsiding you. And that's why he makes the mistake of taking down the first carrier, like jumping to it and, not checking the second carrier. Although, again, if I was Vader, I would have done the same thing, because he didn't see two carriers and also that one's getting away. So, but it's just really, really awesome. And just to see his powers on display where he lands that carrier and rips the doors off like so effortlessly. I'm like, oh man, it's so awesome. And Vader is so awesome. It's the Vader episode for sure. But again, seeing Hayden back, seeing Obi-Wan be a leader and be the Rebel Alliance leader, where very much like Poe needs to be in The Last Jedi, where he needs to kind of take control there. I think you saw a lot of that with Obi-Wan, but also there's some Luke. You see some Luke in there in him. So, I love how he's kind of encompassing all the characters. Again, it's a little too samey with Last Jedi. If they had like a battering ram, I would have been like, dude, this is literally just Last Jedi. But it's okay, because I really like Last Jedi. So I loved all of this episode, and I wish that this whole series was closer to this. But I will say, as the episodes are getting better and better, I'm like, okay, this is top tier quality Star Wars content. So I'm much happier with this than I was with like Boba Fett. I think I still like Mandalorian more, but this had some hype moments, dude, where they're different shows. But anyway, guys, that's a discussion for another day. But I just absolutely was in love with this episode. Okay, guys, well, that's it. That's another episode of Kenobi, the penultimate episode, guys. So we'll be back next week for the series finale. I don't think they're going to do season 2. I honestly hope they don't. This feels like a self-contained. We already know what happens to the rest of the original trilogy. I hope they put a nice little bow on this. I hope we have an awesome sequence, emotionally charged sequence, I'm sure, next week. So yeah, appreciate you guys. Thanks for checking out the channel. Go check out the other content, of course. Like, comment, subscribe. I know at the time of this recording, the review you've been looking for, I think the Attack of the Clones is the last one I put out. Those will be coming, guys. I've actually reviewed all the Star Wars movies. I just need to find out when I want to drop those. So things have been crazy, like I said here, guys, and this is obviously time sensitive, but keep an eye out for those because we will be dropping those. Anyway, guys, appreciate you. Until next time, guys, may the Force be with you.